Today, I'm going to be showing you how to transform any piece of wood into something that looks like it's old reclaimed barnwood. So the first process will give you a smooth but weathered look and involves just staining. Alright, so we'll start off by putting some stain down, and I typically start off with my darker stain first and then I'll work my way up to the grays. Now there's no right or wrong way to do this. Basically you're just putting stain in random spots and then you blend it all together. And I typically blend everything together here while the stain is still wet. And that's how you get your weathered effect. Now here I'm using my thinned down white paint. Typically what I do is I'll thin down the latex paint. I'll start it off with a 1-to-1 ratio, maybe 2-to-1 ratio with water to latex paint. What I was doing there with the napkin is I'm basically blotting the paint to give it a more dried effect. You want to do this because you don't want the paint to lay on there too wet. And basically less is better here. So put a little bit down and see how you like it. And if you need more, put another coat on. Now the second process will give you a distress with somewhat of a smooth look and involves distressing the wood with tools and then finishing it off with our stain. Now we're going to use a number of tools here to distress the wood, and what we're looking to do is basically mimic the aging process by damaging it. And not only is this fun, but there's really no way to screw this part up. So this process is pretty fun. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You're basically just taking tools and damaging the wood. See, I got myself a hammer here, I got a hole saw, screwdriver, basically anything to damage the wood. Just putting random damaged areas on the wood. After you're happy with your damage, next you put the stain down, and just like the first process, you're going to mix the stain up on there, blend it all in real nice to give it that weathered effect. After the stain is dry, you'll want to put on your thinned down white latex paint. Again, less is better here. Make sure that paint doesn't go on there too wet. You might accomplish what you're looking for in one step. It may take you 3. It's really up to you. Now the third process will give you a much more distressed look than the previous couple. It involves using fire and is more commonly known as shushigiban. Now to do this, you'll need a torch and a wire brush. I recommend using a small MAP gas torch or a propane torch for this, and basically we're going to burn the wood grain, scrape it with a wire brush, distress it with some of the tools, and finish it off with some staining. So this third process is pretty fun. Basically we're going to get a torch and we're going to char the wood. After the wood's charred, we're going to scrape it with a wire brush. And what that's going to do is it's basically going to dig out all the soft grain in the wood, and it's going to leave the hard grain that's raised, as you can see here. Next, take our tools, do some damaging. Again, no right or wrong way to do this. Just randomly hitting the wood, randomly damaging it. And when you're happy with the damage, move on to the staining. Again, randomly just putting stain down. Just as long as you make sure it's blended in nice and evenly so it doesn't look real blotchy. And after that, put your white thinned down paint on. Now the last process is going to give you the most weathered and distressed look, and we're going to be using a grinder with a wheel brush to accomplish this. We'll dig into the grain with the wire brush, distress it a little more with some of the tools, and follow up with some staining. Alright, this last step is really going to distress the wood. We're basically taking a grinder and we are grinding down into the wood. This process is probably the fastest. I honestly spent about maybe 45 seconds grinding the wood. It don't take long to accomplish this. After that, put your stain down just like the last 3 steps, blend it in real nice. Then go ahead and damage it. Again, no right or wrong way to do this, just have fun. And lastly, put down your thinned down white paint to give it that bleach effect.